The Illinois basketball team will play away from the State Farm Center for the first time this season. Thanksgiving Day, they'll take on Indiana State in the Las Vegas Invitational, and they'll either play Baylor or Memphis on Friday. The Orange and Blue left this morning. Head coach John Gross says it'll be a good test to see what they're made of away from their home court.
I think it keeps getting ramped up and it gets a little bit harder each game here coming up, and I like that. I like the fact that we've got to go into some, a hostile environment here. We've got to go to play neutral games. We've got to go get away from home. I think that's good. That's going to help us grow up even more as a team.
The game against Indiana State tips off at 4 o'clock Central Time. Arthur Leamington Atwood Hammond started their season with a win last night against Sullivan. It was the first game under the school's new co-op. Our Brett Behrens has more on how two schools are coming together to form what should be one of the best Class 1A schools in the area. All right, thanks, Brett. And the 11th ranked Illinois volleyball team is hoping to get a chance to host the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. The top 16 schools will earn the right to play at home, and they've got 2 games left to prove they deserve it. That starts with a matchup against Nebraska tonight.
Trying to get ready for the NCAA tournament, but also I think we're fighting for seeds. We're real close RPI-wise. We're tied with them in the standings, and we're kind of fighting, hopefully, to be seeded in the NCAA tournament, and also refine our games and get ready for the NCAA tournament. It's a good, Wisconsin and Indiana were good tests for us, and I think this will be a really good test for us to see if we've grown as a team and gotten better.
And that game starts at 7 in Huff Hall. Well, it's win or go home for the Illinois football team this Saturday against Northwestern. That's also the case for the Wildcats. Both teams come into Saturday's regular season finale with identical 5-6 records. Tim Beckman has really tried to emphasize the rivalry with Northwestern over the last 3 years, and it's not too often there's this much on the line when these two square off.
This is it. I mean, this is, it's almost like the playoffs. I mean, you got to win to keep playing, and so do they. So, that's what it's about. It's a great rivalry, and it's one very well respected.
Illinois and Northwestern kick off Saturday at 11. You can see it on ESPNU. Still to come on the morning show, some popular accessories may be a hot holiday gift item, but are they living up to the hype? What trainers have to say about exercise tracking technology. That's coming up. JV players at Watseka are preparing for a game against rivals Clifton Central. This year's game doesn't have the same feel, and that's because the health of Hayden Schaumburg is more important than wins and losses.
Standing out there, I knew it was bad.
Schaumburg was on kick return. He collided with a player from the other team. One of his teammates says they both ducked their heads before impact. Head coach Steve Lucas remembers walking on the field, seeing Schaumburg lie motionless.
Hayden didn't move a muscle the whole time he was laying there. And he was screaming. He said, Dad, I'm afraid, and I can't move anything.
Schaumburg dislocated his 3rd and 4th vertebrae, and after an 8-hour surgery, he now has 10 screws in his neck.
He can move his shoulders.
And that's about it.
It was emotional Friday night on the field, and even more emotional in the hospital.
Those feelings carried into the school day. The team wore maroon to show Schaumburg is close to their hearts.
It's tough when people ask about him, not to get teary-eyed, but I just try to stay strong for him because I know that's what not only he would want me to do, but that's what I need to do. Lucas's family is close with the Schaumburgs, making these past few days even tougher for the veteran coach.
I tell my kids, I love you guys, and then when something like this happens, you find out you really do, and that's when it really hurts.
405 pounds. For many lifters, this would be a milestone achievement. For Chico Wilson, it's a warm-up. His athletic moment happened just a few weeks ago, when he pulled 570 pounds off the ground, a feat very few have accomplished. But it was a heavy heart and not a heavy bar that gave him the most trouble that day.
Each lift I was tearing up. It's kind of hard to explain, but he was there with me.
Months earlier, his brother Johnny had a massive heart attack. He died at the age of 38.
I can hear him in my ear. If you don't lift this, I'm gonna get you.
Johnny introduced Chico to the world of powerlifting, and the two, along with their brother Lee, pushed each other to get stronger and at the same time created a bond that can't be replaced.
It's a void, and that can't be filled. You know, when there's a pair of shoes to be filled, no matter if the person wears the right size, it never fills Johnny's shoes because he was bigger than life.
When he passed away, it was just like a piece of my heart gone.
Since Johnny's passing, Chico has dedicated every lift to his brother's memory.
I prayed and told him, I said, hey, I'm gonna win this for you. And that's what I did.
Little brother delivered on his promise.
Right when he did it and the lift was over, we hugged and we cried and shared and talked about Johnny smiling down on us.
What do you think he would have said to you after he saw you lift 570 pounds?
He probably would have said, good job. We would have hugged like usual and probably cried together.